Hey everyone, it's Evan Langert with the Langert Commercial Group, and I'd like to talk to you today about pricing hard to price commercial properties. And in order to kind of give you an example, let me give you some examples of what properties are not hard to price. If you are listing, or if you're the seller and you're selling, or the buyer and you're buying a commercial office condominium in a project where a half a dozen similar condos have traded hands in the last year or two, you just look up what those have sold for. There'll be a little variation. Some might have been built out as medical space or built out much more nicely than others. Might be a corner unit, might be one that's in a particularly attractive spot of the building, might be first floor space, which gets you more visibility to other people coming in and out. But there's a range at which these units have traded at, and you can kind of figure out within that continuum where yours ought to go. Likewise, if you're buying an investment property and your tenant's a Dollar General or a Chick-fil-A or a McDonald's or any number of Verizon stores, something along that line, there's a range at which these properties trade based on the net operating income and the cap rate of those properties. There's some variation. Is it a corporate lease versus a franchise? Is it a 15-year lease or a 5-year lease that's left? Is it in a rural location with little traffic and not that many people around it? Or is it right in the thick of things? But by and large, there's an established range at which these things trade. So those are not what I'm talking about. Those are over here. Those are pretty easy to price. Here's an example of something I've got going on right now that is frankly worth different amounts of money to different people. I have a 2 3/4 acre parcel. It is in College Park, Maryland, really 3 or 4 lots from the entrance to the University of Maryland campus. It's actually got a house on it, a 1,500 square foot house. It's been a family's residence for 50 or 60 years, and that's what they've used it for. However, the zoning and the location sort of changed things. The zoning allows certain commercial uses. The neighbor on the one side of the house is a church. The neighbor on the other side of the house is a moose lodge, which was actually just sold to a church. Right across the street is another church, and next to that church is a fourth church. On our side of the street, if you go a couple of lots down, there's some buildings that are used for medical. There's some university related buildings. And even behind all of that, although it was under an old zoning code, this particular zoning, there's a very large condominium project that was put in back there. So the value of ours depends on who's looking at it. I have people that are home builders that are coming in, and some of them want to had to subdivide this into lots, build houses and rent them out to students, or maybe just sell the houses. So what they do is they look and they say, well, how many lots can I get? Is the county going to let me get three or four or five? And then how much house can I build? And which translates directly into how much am I going to be able to get for each of these houses, or what kind of rent am I going to be able to get for these houses if I rent them to students, professors, etc. And they look at the income that's going to be coming in, cost to build, etc. And then they'll back into the land cost. They'll say, based on all of this, what can I afford to pay for the land? And it's not a topic for this video, but there's typically a percentage that developers of certain types of properties look at and say, I can afford to pay this percentage of my income for the land, and they're going to back into it. And the number's going to be different if they can only get 3 lots out of the county rather than if they can get 5 lots out of the county. If you looked at it, if this was bigger and it was the big lot that's behind us that had the big condominium project, they might look at it and say, I could get 100 condominiums off of here and on here and sell all of them. That's a very large amount of money that they can generate. So they could pay a lot for that land. And that's how they're going to look at it. If somebody was just looking at this to live and say, well, I'd like to live close to the university, that's a cute little house. I had a residential agent look at it, and that person came up with a value of, I believe, around $425,000. I've got it listed at 950. I've got churches looking at it. If a church is looking at it, they're looking at it and say, does it meet our needs? How badly do we need to be really right near the university? Are we absolutely going to cater to the university community? And what else is around here? And the answer is not very much. And then, of course, what do we have? In our building fund, are we going to be able to afford it? And it's not so much in most cases an income determination as it is we're here to serve the Lord and this community. And here are options out here. This is the best option. Let's go ahead and do this. And so it's different. The pricing for this is different for everybody, all those different classifications. So if I go into CoStar, which is probably what's definitely the most expensive and wide variety of listings, it's got a lot more listings than any of our other databases. And I'm going for a particular search of a type of building. It might be anywhere from 30, 40% to over 60% of the listings on there that are unpriced. And to be sure, there are other reasons. Sometimes people don't know what the price is. Maybe they're not that experienced, or a residential agent is selling a commercial property, doesn't really know what it's worth. Or somebody might look at it and say, well, I could price it at 1 million. But what if somebody out there who didn't know, since this is hard to price, was going to come in at 1 million too? Well, I've just sliced 200,000 off of what we could get for this. So that's also a reason why sometimes properties are not priced. But the other is I don't know who's going to buy this. Is it somebody, and I don't know what they're going to be able to do. Even if it's a home builder, are they going to be able to get 3 lots out of this, 4 lots out of this, 5 lots out of this? Are they going to be able to build a 2,000 square foot house, a 4,000 square foot house? So all these things have to be factored in. So these are harder to price, these types of properties, and you need someone in your camp that really knows how different parties look at these types of properties. As always, my videos are intended to bring up topics, talk about the moving pieces, and make you aware that these topics are actually out here, but they're never meant to give specific advice for anybody for their purchase, their sale, their investment. Everything differs depending on each particular deal. So if you do want to talk about your specific deal, I'd love to get on the phone with you or email with you. I can be reached at 650-714-3826. Again, the 650-714-3826, or the office number is 443-529-0505. Again, 443-529-0505. Or you can email me at elangert@thelangertgroup.com. That's elangert@thelangertgroup.com. Elangert is ELAN as in Nathan, GERT as in Thomas. Have a great day and God bless you. Talk to you soon, I hope.